You'll never be satisfied. You'll spend days, weeks, months, and even years lurking on hair loss forums and on YouTube channels looking for the best hair transplant doctors and the best hairline results while you decide whether to go FUE or FUT. And you'll tell yourself things like, well, I'll just need one hair transplant and that'll be it. And then you'll spend months and months and perhaps years saving for that one very hair transplant. You'll start classifying your friends, families, and even strangers according to the Norwood Chart. And once you get your hair transplant, you're going to be so glad that you got one until 2 weeks later you're going to have to think about things to tell your coworkers on why your scalp is red. And it only gets worse once you enter the dreaded shedding phase, where all of your hair follicles that were implanted are going to be wiped out, leaving you looking worse than you actually did before the hair transplant. And as the days and months slowly creep by in what seems like an eternity, you'll start scrutinizing your scalp every minute that you get, looking for any signs of follicular growth as if scientists looking for life on an extraterrestrial planet. And you'll start questioning the work of your hair transplant doctor as you can't help but think that your hair transplant was a total disaster. Until 4 months later, there's a glimmer of hope. You see tiny little vellus baby hairs slowly sprouting one by one. And you start thinking, perhaps this wasn't a disaster after all. And soon enough, after your first hair transplant, you're going to be on the hunt for the second, and perhaps even a third. And at this point, a drug addiction would be cheaper than a hair transplant addiction. The cost of a hair transplant is just the price of the admission. A hair transplant does not come with supplements to prevent further hair loss, and there's always going to be something on the market that claims to prevent hair loss at crackhead prices. Things like low laser light therapy, PRPs, supplements, shampoos, vitamins, you name it. But a man's gotta do what he's gotta do to save the one thing that matters the most to him, his hair. A man would literally give up his home before giving up his hair. And you'll start taking expensive medications such as dutasteride, finasteride, and minoxidil to save every last strand of your hair, overlooking the mental and sexual side effects of these prescription medications can bring. Erectile dysfunction, brain fog, anxiety, depression, smaller junk, and you'll start understanding scientific terms that you've never heard of in your whole life, such as DHT, testosterone, allopregnanolone, 5-alpha reductase, and you'll also learn about different catalysts and conversions of chemicals and neurohormones. It's a tough trade, but for hair, it may be worth it. This is the reality of hair transplants. Sure, you'll look younger, you'll gain more confidence, and you'll have more game with the females, but just like everything in life, there's a dark side. So the next time you see a commercial on hair transplants, or you see that recommended video on YouTube from that sexy Asian hair crazy YouTuber, do yourself a favor and turn the other way. You really don't want these problems, or do you?